You know the name Bloody Mary, right? Maybe you've heard it whispered at sleepovers, or maybe you've been dared to say it 3 times in front of a mirror. Most of us have either tried it or know someone who claims they did. But do you actually know the real story behind the legend? Because it's not just some silly game to spook your friends. There's a history behind it, one that's dark, twisted, and honestly freaky enough to keep you away from mirrors for a long time. So let's dig into it. Who was Bloody Mary? Some say she was a witch, others say a vengeful spirit. But one of the most widely believed theories is that she was Mary Tudor, also known as Queen Mary I of England. Yeah, we're talking real royalty here. She ruled England in the mid-1500s and had a seriously bloody reign. She was obsessed with re-establishing Catholicism in England, and anyone who opposed her, well, let's just say they didn't have a very happy ending. She got the nickname Bloody Mary because of the countless executions she ordered. People were burned at the stake, tortured, and accused of heresy left and right. But what's really chilling is the way she died. Mary went through a series of horrific miscarriages and phantom pregnancies. She'd show all the signs of being pregnant, but no child would be born. Some say she was cursed, which is why her spirit is tied to mirrors and blood. But that's not the only theory. There's also a belief that Bloody Mary was actually a young girl who was murdered. Some stories say she was killed by her own parents. Others say she died in a car accident. The common thread? Her spirit got trapped in a mirror, and now she's out for revenge on anyone who dares to summon her. Okay, but what's the deal with mirrors? Why are they always a part of these ghostly tales? Mirrors have always been thought of as portals, places where the spirit world and our world overlap. In many cultures, mirrors were covered after a death to prevent the spirit of the deceased from getting stuck inside. And if a mirror breaks, it's believed that the trapped soul is released. So when you stand in front of a mirror chanting, Bloody Mary, you're basically inviting a spirit to come out. Scary, right? The ritual itself is simple, but it's enough to make your hair stand on end. You go into a dark room, usually a bathroom, and light a single candle. You stand in front of the mirror, staring at your own reflection. And then you say her name. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Supposedly, after the 3rd time, her face will appear in the mirror, staring back at you. But what happens next? That's where things get really twisted. People who claim to have seen her describe a bloody, disfigured face staring back at them. Some say she reaches out and scratches your face, leaving deep marks that don't fade. Others say she'll even pull you into the mirror, trapping you in the spirit world forever. There are stories of people who did the Bloody Mary challenge and then disappeared, never seen again. Of course, most dismiss these as just urban legends, but still, are you brave enough to try it? So how did this ritual start? It's believed that the Bloody Mary game dates back to the early 19th century. Back then, it was more of a fortune-telling game for young girls. They would walk up a flight of stairs backward holding a candle and a mirror. They believed that if they looked into the mirror, they'd see the face of their future husband. But if they saw a skull or a grim face staring back, it meant they were destined to die before marriage. Not exactly the kind of game you'd want to play at a party. As the story spread, it changed. The harmless game of seeing your future lover turned into a ritual to summon a violent spirit. The tale morphed and twisted as people added their own details. It became more gruesome, more terrifying. By the time it reached our generation, Bloody Mary was no longer a figure of curiosity. She was a ghostly entity with one mission: to haunt and harm. The real question is, though, why do people still do it? Why, even knowing how terrifying the legend is, do so many people stand in front of that mirror and chant her name? It's because we're drawn to fear. We like testing our courage. It's that same rush you get from riding a roller coaster or watching a horror movie in the dark. Deep down, we know Bloody Mary probably isn't real, but there's that tiny bit of doubt, the what if, that makes the hair on your neck stand up. And here's the thing. Even skeptics have experienced strange things while trying to summon Bloody Mary. Some have seen shadows moving in the mirror. Others have heard whispering or felt an icy chill in the room. It's easy to brush it off as a trick of the mind, a figment of your imagination. But what if it's not? In fact, many paranormal investigators have looked into the legend. They say that the Bloody Mary ritual is a perfect storm for inviting negative energy. You're in a dark room focusing on a single point, your reflection, and repeating a name linked to death and suffering. You're basically creating a small ritual that could attract something. And once you've opened that door, door, who knows what might come through. Some believe that even if Bloody Mary isn't real, something else could take her place. Spirits are known to imitate whatever you expect to see. So if you're looking for a blood-soaked woman in the mirror, that's what a spirit might show you. That's why paranormal experts always warn don't mess around with these games, because you never know what you're really dealing with. But hey, it's just a legend, right? A fun little scare. After all, no one's actually seen Bloody Mary come out of the mirror, or have they? So next time you're at a sleepover and someone says, "Let's play Bloody Mary," think twice. Are you sure you want to take that risk? Because if the stories are true, you might end up with more than just a scare. You might end up with a new mirror mate watching you from the other side. Now, whether you believe the legend or not, one thing's for sure, Bloody Mary isn't going anywhere. For centuries, her story has been passed down, generation after generation, and she's become more than just a game. She's become a part of our culture. People still share her story, dare each other to summon her, and wonder what might happen if they do. Maybe that's exactly what she wanted, to never be forgotten, to keep people whispering her name, and to keep haunting our imaginations forever. So, are you brave enough to stand in front of that mirror and say her name? Or will you keep the lights on and let Bloody Mary stay just where she belongs, trapped behind the glass?